Hit that notification, people. Ding, ding, ding.
Alright, well, I was asked by one of my subscribers to say what is the bare minimum you need for a tank. Now, I'm going to probably do a slideshow after the fact, okay? The first thing I'm going to preface this by is simply saying cycling the tank is the biggest thing. But what is the absolute bare minimum? Do you need a hang on the back? You know, you can probably get by with a cheap light. Do you need a hang on the back? Do you need a sponge filter? Do you need air? Okay? And I'm going to answer all that upcoming. A lot of the answers is no, you don't need a whole lot of this. Do you need a heater? Well, the question is going to really be, and that's a cheap heater. Okay, that's a Walmart heater because my main heater, I had a glass heater before and it broke. You'll notice in all my videos now I use Aqua Pro heaters, but again, the bare minimum. An Aqua Pro heater is going to cost you $40 or more. You know, do you have to have wood? You know, that chunk of wood's probably $10. Do you have to have rocks? Do you have to have plants? Well, you know, very few plants in here. I removed a lot of it. That's simply, you know, hair algae, really. It can be removed. It helps. It's unsightly. But, I mean, let's be real. It's a bathroom tank, people. Okay? You know, I occasionally change the water there when I have to. And these are the purple Moscows. Take a quick look. And ironically, my most expensive fish I own. And let's see how they look under the light. Not bad. They're thriving. And now, I'm not liking the color direction they're going in, but I don't know. They're pretty. Y'all probably like them. And, you know, at one point, these purple Moscows were going... Oh, look at them. Yeah. Still not bad. $70 a trio. But the main question was the bare minimum tank. Alright, we're going to get down to brass tacks. Now, keep in mind, you're going to have to include things like a net you never thought of. You know, you're going to have a net, probably. You've got to have fish food. Okay? So, a lot of times when people say bare minimum, they don't understand the entire cost. The cost of water changes. I don't know. Maybe your water's free. Maybe you have well water. Well water is not good for guppies if you're keeping guppies. Okay? Because it's soft. You know, it depends on what part of the U.S. you're in. And so it boils down to a bunch of things. The whole goal is to be a successful fish keeper. I don't know. Are you occasionally... Let's see if I can do this without screwing anything up. Okay. You got, you know, a filter back there. You can't see the rest of it. I have other filter media back there to plug up. So... Oops, I'm sorry. Didn't mean to do all that. Let me put up the light, because these guys are going crazy. Yeah, these guys are to sell when freaking everything is over. So, do you need air? And again, y'all seen my fish room, you've seen, what about them? 270 videos? Oh, this ancient pump. Come on, man. That thing ain't been around since the 80s. Okay? But... it pumps a little water in there. You don't have an air stone on this car. You don't have... I know. I certainly don't. And is it needed? Well, these are questions I will answer here in a little bit. I say no. Okay? So, bare essentials for the first time fish keeper to be successful, and that's what we're going to go for. Alright, I'm going to cut this off. But I'm just trying to give you an idea. And this is on a stand. Oh, don't let the floor. The floor is dirty. Had a flood in here last year. Not from the tank. What a stupid sink. Anyway, another story. And this is my most. These are my most highest priced fish in a 10-gallon aquarium. Look how many's in there. Can you successfully do it? No. Not at this point if you're a beginner. So, we'll get all that later.
Alright, here we go. How to do a cheap tank. Is it possible? I have no idea. But anyway, here's how to lower the cost greatly. Somebody mentioned they wanted me to do a video on this. Your local fish groups, people. I don't know, like in Louisville, there's a Louisville Greater Society Fish Keeper thing, and 2 or 3 other groups. I know in New York and Illinois, Chicago, there's all kinds of groups. So the first thing to do is get on Facebook if you do that sort of thing, um, and get in touch with people in the hobby, and join a local group. And what I mean by that, uh, I got so many of my tanks for cheap, so many, because let's be realistic, man. The freaking tanks themselves, yeah, you could get them for $10, you know, or a dollar a gallon sell, but you can't get the lids. All right, you gotta have the glass lids, people. Those cheap ass, over the top lids, they burn out very shortly. They're poor lighting. You want to get glass lids. So, what I find a perfect 2020 is you get a 20-gallon with a glass lid for $20. You know, maybe 10. But $10 extra. But anyway, keep in mind, you know, just keep that in mind. Local pet stores are going out of business. Kind of rare these days to find, honestly, um, because most of them already have went out of business. Let's go from there. Don't do Craigslist or whatever these other means are, man. I'm gonna tell you right now, you're gonna get ripped off. The tanks are probably cracked. They're not gonna tell you that. They're leaking water. They're crackheads. So don't deal with that stuff, and don't go in person. Okay. So avoid those at all costs. Um, and complete kits. Well, complete kits are a great way to start. From the Walmart, the PetSmarts, Petco's, whatever. Um, but keep in mind, you're getting very cheap components. Man, they're going to wear out very quickly. Whether in most of them, they're not going to be sponge filters at all. They're simply going to be, hang on the backs. So let's go from there. And you're going to need a glass heater and all this crap. So anyway, bare minimum needed. Simple. Tank, lid, and light. You got to have a tank. You have to have a lid because that keeps creatures from getting in there. That keeps your fish from getting out. And come on, people. I'm talking about live bears here. There are many, other species, blah, blah, blah. Now, a heater, is that necessary? Maybe not. If you live in Florida, where your internal room temperature, because you don't want to run your air conditioner 24/7, is 74 degrees, no, you don't need a heater. Okay? You can skip on that. But, if you're in New Brunswick, Canada, where your average, winter temperature and inside your house is 68 degrees, yeah, you probably need temperature. If you have a basement, you're going to probably need to regulate the temperature. Okay? So, keep that in mind. But live bears, that's exactly what I'm talking about. 70, they will thrive and live. Well, no. They will live but not thrive. They need at least 72 plus to, you know, mate and do whatever you're doing. All right, you're gonna have to have a filter slash sponge of any type. Doesn't matter. You have to have filtration, people. It can be cheap filtration. It can be expensive filtration. What does Scott recommend? Well, duh, sponge filters. If you've seen my videos, you know what I'm talking about. Food, duh. You gotta have food. Now, the same thing as you or I or your cats or your dogs. Now, come on. Now, a lot of you always say, I'll eat steak every day for a year. No, you won't. Because after about probably the 1 or 2 month mark, you're like, oh God, this again? No, no, you want to mix the food up a little bit, people. Same thing with pets, animals. I don't ever feed my cats the same food every 3 days. They get different foods, you know. Same thing with my fish. There's about 4 or 5 different foods I put in there. Do they really care? No, they're just trying to eat and get fed. But let's be realistic. You know, varied up. And some foods like my earthworm flake and others, it's very simple. Um, they get more nutrients, more of this, more of that. Depends on what you're trying to do. All right, let's keep going. A chemical test. Man, you've got to have a chemical test of some sort. Okay? Because how are you going to know if your tank, is ready? You know? Or how are you going to know if your nitrates are out of control? Or nitrates? Or ammonia? You've got to have a way to test it. You can't just say, I'll do this, I'll do this, I'll do this without chemicals. You'll never know. Because 9 times out of 10, people starting the new hobby and they lose fish right off the bat because they don't know what they're doing, they quit the hobby. It's that freaking simple. The sad part is the chemical test, you know, if you're going to buy an API kit, that's probably 25, $30, okay? Which is a great freaking kit. I've got videos on it. Otherwise, you're probably going to rely upon Tetra strips. And I've done some measuring. They're not too far off if they're not outdated. Okay? And they can be kind of had somewhat cheaply. But you've got to have a way of knowing that your tank is cycled. Um, you know, please watch my videos, people. You can't throw a bunch of fish in a freaking tank that you just started and they're going to magically live. No. No. Will never happen. Alright. Now, you got to have a way to drain or change the water. You thought about that. 5-gallon Home Depot or Lowe's buckets work fine, but you're going to have a way to drain the water out of that and then drain water into the buckets to fill them up. Because a lot of y'all starting out, you're not going to have, a lot of these, fancy water changes or pond pumps like I use or any other means of doing it. It's going to be manually filling it up. Do you have a toilet to dump it into? You don't want to probably dump water in your sink, okay? Bad idea, people. Because snails and other things can get down your water drain, and if you don't have a garbage disposal, I don't know, they can clog it up. But you're gonna have to definitely have a water conditioner, okay? You've got to have that because a lot of the municipal systems nowadays, people, you've got chlorines and chloramines, okay? The reason I recommend Prime, it not only kills those two, it binds the heavy metals like lead or anything else your water system might be flushing through at that exact time. Because what happens a lot of times, people, my fish were doing fine. I'm 6 months in. I'm 8 months in. Scott, what happened? They all just died. Well, probably, and usually when I ask, did you do a water change right before it happened? Yes, I did, Scott. Well, the municipal flush the water system and maybe introduce new chemicals and this and that into the water that your fish aren't accustomed to. I don't know, lime, whatever. But anyway, use Prime, save yourself eggs. Kind of pricey, yep. But do what you gotta do, people. All right, these are things that are probably not needed. I highly, highly suggest them. You got to have decorations if you got to have live bears, unless you don't care. If you have like 5 males, you know, no way of reproducing, who cares? But if you plan on having fry, uh, live plants, man, live plants do so much for your tanks, people, because well, the plastic decorations do too. I mean, they're holding back, you know, uh, beneficial bacteria. No problem with that. But live plants help absorb stuff if you're not doing proper water changes, this and that. But anyway, you got to have somewhere for your fry to live and hide. Okay? Um, and I hate this myth. Okay? You live bearer people out there. I hate this. I hate this. I hate this. Uh, if we don't have cover, my guppies will eat everything in nature. No, no. The only last 4 or 5 years, I guess, the only fish as far as live bearers, as far as guppies, I've seen aggressive. For whatever reason, albinos are much more aggressive than any other things I've had. Now, I'm talking about $70 fish, $50 fish, the greens, the purples, the Moscows, the half blacks, the half blues, the half reds. Um, uh, you know, I can go on down the road. Be careful if you know they have red eyes. If you have albino red eyes, for whatever reason, they seem to be a little bit more aggressive than others. But I've also seen purple Moscows eat up fry when they were born. Have plenty of cover. Alright, next, a net if needed. Well, I don't know. Usually, one person that starts this hobby might get another tank, and if you get another tank, you might want to put your little babies in there, blah, blah, blah. An air pump, obviously, if you're going to use sponge filters. Let me hit on that real quick, okay? Is air needed? I say the answer is no, but, it depends on the bio load. What I'm saying, if you're keeping, uh, I keep extremely high rates in my tanks. If you're keeping 40, 50 guppies in a 10-gallon, you better want air. Okay, that little hang on the back filter, it generates some air, but at the same token, my 29-gallon upstairs probably has 150 guppies in there, but it's completely covered with Java moss, and there's two hang on the back filters only. There's no airflow. I don't know if the mortality rate any different than any of these other tanks. So, 100% needed, in my opinion, no. But I would say it's probably 100% helpful. Okay, let's go from there. Um, Again, Python pump, we already uh, went with that, right? You're going to have a way to drain the tank and fill the tank. You know? I can suggest a lot more, but anyway, if I missed something, y'all let me know below. I'm trying to hurry and rush through this. This is going long. Alright. Oh, already went through everything? Oh, I thought there was a fourth slide. Okay, well, anyway, there's not. Um, so, I want to give y'all the bare minimum. Keep in mind, the tanks you get from Walmart. I know there was another thing, and it's not here. Yeah, yeah, it's not here. But anyway, the tanks you get from Walmart, Petco, um, whatever the other places are. Um, and keep in mind, you buy an all-in-one tank for $40, $50, whatever it is. For a 10-gallon starter tank. Yeah, it's probably going to contain a net, some sample fish food, a little bit of maybe AquaSave, whatever it is they use. Use Prime, people. Use Prime. Don't use AquaSave. But AquaSave's gotten a lot better. Okay. Um, and your little net, a little heater, a little barely spongeable hang on the back filter. They can barely handle the freaking tank. The heater can barely handle the tank. And what I mean is, you know, it won't be able to, if you get like 2 degrees cold, the heater will not be able to handle it. It's going to pump all night long, all night long. Okay? But it's a great resource to at least get the basics, if that's all you can do. All right. Just check out my videos on my tanks, and they're all fairly cheap. I built my own stands. Oh, keep in mind, you got to buy a stand now. So I hope you have a countertop or a dresser or whatever you're gonna put your fish tank on, because ironically enough, stands are 20 to $40 a pop. So again, check your. Uh, let's just go back to here. Whoops. Right there. Local fish groups, people. Okay? If you have any in your area, check them out and subscribe to them and say, hey, I'm looking for 220 talls, 220 longs with just the lids, and go from there or whatever. Um, but if you don't have the heaters and everything else, to go for it. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and quit. I'm trying to give you the best advice I can. Getting in this hobby is not cheap. And the problem is when you try to get in too cheap and you're skipping things like cycling and all that crap, then you're going to get flustered because your fish are going to die. And you're like, I'm never doing that again. And I went through that for a while. I lost over $300 worth of red cherry shrimp because I have hard water. Unlike a lot of counterparts, I ordered from 3 different sources. I won't tell you who, but some of them are big YouTubers. They all died. I've just figured out I can't keep cherry shrimp with guppies. I don't know if the guppies eat them or the bio load is too much. I just learned a lesson. Now, one day I might set up a new tank only for cherry shrimp, with using calcium and all that crap. Um, not in the mood to do anymore. I just deal with what I'm successful with. All right, I'm out of here, man. This has been way too long. All right, later. Thanks for watching, and I hope I helped some of you out. All right, later. Stop.